The point was never that boobs shouldn't bounce. The point was, why are you being weird about it? I feel like for a long time, the cozy game community was so pure and drama-free and, cozy. But the larger and larger that it's getting, the more developers we're seeing doing silly, goofy things. Take Farm Folks, for example, which is a game that has stepped into a little bit of controversy that has absolutely consumed my timeline. We're going to talk about it, what they posted, what their response was, and some of the sentiment that is going around in the community right now. So Farm Folks is an upcoming multiplayer farm sim, and they also call it a third-person open world survival game. They say that this is a game that seamlessly merges resource management and automation into a farm building experience enriched by both PvP and PvE elements along with extensive customization options. This game really has a lot going on, and I have been sort of tracking the development of this. I follow the game on Twitter and I see the posts that they're making. I'm just going to be honest and say that I've been kind of confused about what this game is. It looks cute, like the art style is really cute, and I know that it's a farming sim and I can see that, but at the same time they show all of these features like the PvP, the PvE, and I'm just a little bit overwhelmed by it, but I have just kind of been casually watching the development of this game for a while. The game has a little bit of an interesting history. They were developed initially by a group called Overgrown, and the Kickstarter started, I think, probably around 2018. I don't know the exact date that it was posted, but if you look at that original Kickstarter page, the rewards have a delivery date of December 2018. And then for a while, the original creator of the game, Overgrown, was creating semi-regular updates about the status of the game. They had one in September 2019, they had one in December 2019, then they had a Happy Holidays post in December, and then they had another update in February of 2020. And then all posts stopped for a year until Crytevo posted an update on that Kickstarter page. When the game was originally created, the developer was Overgrown and the publisher was Crytevo. However, according to the statement that Crytevo made on their Kickstarter, the original developer, Overgrown, was going through substantial hardships that stalled their progress, and through time, we at Crytevo became worried about the future of the project, so we decided to acquire it. So Crytevo acquired the game in 2020. They used what they could use of the game's existing code, but they really changed a lot. I mean, like, the game that exists now as Farm Folks is extremely different than the developer updates that we were getting from Overgrown back in 2019. Crytevo is a pretty big name in the indie publishing company, and they do have quite a few games under their roster. But if Crytevo is sounding familiar to you and you're not sure where from, it's because this is the publisher that had the dispute with Soda Den, which is the developer of Roots of Pacha. So this is a whole other thing that I could go into, but basically back in 2023, I want to say around May-ish, like, middle of the year, early half of the year in 2023, Crytevo and Soda Den had a dispute over the royalties, I believe, of Roots of Pacha, which resulted in Crytevo pulling Roots of Pacha from the Steam page without Soda Den, the developer, even knowing what was going on. And so Roots of Pacha was off of Steam for a little while. Eventually, the two came to an agreement. They posted joint statements about how they were splitting ways, and Roots of Pacha was returned to the Steam source. So Crytevo is also not unfamiliar with controversy in the gaming space. Now, as I said, it appears that Farm Folks has been working really hard since their acquirement from Crytevo. They are constantly posting stuff on their Twitter about all sorts of different things that they're developing. They did a post about solar panels. They have a lot of different outfits and customizations and decor. They post pretty much every single day on Twitter something about their development, sometimes multiple times a day. Another thing that they do sometimes, which is what got them into this little spell of controversy, is asking their community for input on the various things that they're designing, which this leads us to the post in question. This post has since been deleted, but thankfully we have lots and lots of screenshots that were taken of it. It was posted on April 27th, and they say, "All right, folks, it's time for some serious game development talk. Burning question, which version has the perfect breast jiggle physics?" with a thinking emoji. And then they also included a video which showed the breast jiggle in question at 50%, 90%, and 30%. Then to top it all off, they posted a follow-up post that said, what if we made it 150%? This very quickly garnered a very negative reaction from the cozy gaming community. I honestly have been trying to come up with a good reason that they had for posting this post, and I really don't know. I understand that that is something that you have to think about as a developer, right? You have to think about the physics of all the parts of your game. And I'm not even necessarily opposed to them asking for community feedback on that. They say later, we'll talk about this, but they say later that this was in response to some community feedback that they had gotten about the breast jiggle being too much. If they really felt like it was necessary to have community input on how much the boobs jiggled, then they could have at least kept that within their own private Discord community. If you're putting something on Twitter, you're doing it for engagement. And this post wasn't even a poll. There's a poll feature on Twitter. So if they genuinely wanted input from people, they could have made it a poll, but they didn't, which shows you that this was done at least in part for engagement and clicks. That with the comment of, should we make it be 150%? Oh, we should make her boobs jiggle so much. That'd be so funny. It's just so out of touch with the community that you're supposedly trying to build. Beyond just being gross, this is also just extremely poor marketing. Like, please fire everyone that does your marketing, because you clearly don't know your audience. The female body is so overly sexualized everywhere we turn in gaming, and cozy games have for a long time felt like a safe space to get away from all of that and just exist in these like cutesy, cozy, wholesome, welcoming worlds. When you're making a farm sim game and you're trying to tap into that cozy gamer market, this post ain't it. So immediately there were quite a few negative reactions. And again, they deleted the post, so I don't have access to all the comments on it, but I did take some screenshots. So I have some. Whoever is running this account needs to be fired 150%. They clearly do not know who their demographic is and probably just scared away a majority of them. Contrary to popular belief, not all publicity is good publicity. Yikes. You guys were doing so good. This tweet is very out of touch and weird, especially with the current audience you guys have that were waiting for this game. It's a farming sim. Why would we be interested in breast jiggle mechanics? This person makes an interesting point that I agree with, which is that I think they were trying to tap into the viral discourse that's happening right now about Stellar Blade and the sexualization of the character in that game. They say marketing tactics in 2024 are so exhausting. You guys knew this would spark conversation because of Stellar Blade right now, and whether people like or dislike it, people are talking about it. Is this really necessary? Please say psych right now, because I promise you this ain't it. This is going to be a very public lesson for you on bringing community Discord discussions to a large public platform with a multitude of layers that have to be considered. That is a very interesting point, because I do feel, after doing a little bit of digging, I do feel that this post kind of stemmed from some maybe inside jokes that were happening within the Discord community. They thought that it would be funny to bring it out to Twitter at large. Obviously, it did not land, and it also really raised a lot of red flags for me personally about what was going on in that community. I did since join that Discord and see a little bit of what was going on. By the time I joined the Discord, most of the conversations in there were very negative about the post. However, I did find something interesting, which has again since been deleted, but I have a little screenshot. They had a pinned post that they made on the 27th, which is the same day that they posted the post on Twitter. And they said, if we reach 1,000 on sheep counting, which is a channel that they have where people can count sheep, and if someone counts 2 times in a row or counts the wrong number, then it resets. They say, if we reach 1,000 on sheep counting, we're doing jiggle slider. Jiggle slider. Who wants that? Nobody wants that in a farm sim. That is not what your target demographic actually wants. The name is not shown on this particular one because I had streamer mode enabled because I had OBS up, but that is Alex K. Alex K is the CEO of Crytivo. The CEO of Crytivo, which is interesting. Now, what was really frustrating about the Discord is that after this post, was posted and people were starting to have negative reactions to it in their Discord, their community manager started doubling down and basically being rude to anybody who had anything negative to say about the post. Someone said, "Hey everyone, join the server to see if I can get an answer to who made the horrifying boob tweet that keeps popping up." And the community manager said, "An apology for an update to the character movements. There were suggestions to work on making the jiggling more natural, and even many suggestions for a slider for people to pick how jiggly we want them to be. But don't worry, we also requested some butt jiggle, and this jiggling should be able to be applied to all body forms." That's what they asked for, right? And then another response that they made to someone was that it's because supporters join communities. Complainers like to stick to comment sections like Twitter and Facebook. I don't see anything wrong with being allowed to have some natural movements to game characters. So I can tell you right now, if I went for a run, I would be bouncing a lot harder than any of those videos. Am I not allowed to exist or be? I love that they are developing the ability to have movement in our characters' bodies. Completely missing the point. The point was never that boobs shouldn't bounce. That was never the point. The point was, why are you being weird about it? It was a fun and silly video and can't wait for the jiggle. Jiggle in your body is not sexual. It's pervy people that are the problem. So if you have a problem with that post, you're a pervert, according to their on-staff community manager. Side note, I've been a community manager. This is very poor community managing. I mean, I am begging some developers to do better PR or get some sort of PR training, because my God. So that was happening on the 29th. And then later on the 29th, they did release an official apology. And they said, "We'd like to address a recent post where we came to our community asking for feedback." Okay. "Our intent is always to connect and grow with our players, but it's clear that we really missed the mark on our recent community feedback post. For that, we all sincerely apologize. We have received concerns about the female player model's breast physics in the past, and we thought we should ask the community what felt more appropriate. Unfortunately, this crossed a line. We try to foster a welcoming community, and the post and subsequent replies made many of our community members uncomfortable and alienated. The reply made about 150% physics was also inappropriate, and we apologize for that." And then they basically say, well, we really just want community feedback. We really want just people to feel included in the game development. So that's why we did it, guys. We're really sorry. So there's that. And then, of course, comes the slew of people decrying the woke mob and saying that farm folks has nothing to apologize for. They should never back down. They've also now limited their replies on their Twitter post. They also got caught blocking someone who spoke out against them. Loco said, "I don't think a video game needs community input on whether boob jiggling physics should be dialed up to 90 or 50%, 150%. Maybe just discuss that weird question internally." And then she had a follow-up tweet where she says, "I didn't even name them and they blocked me so fast," with a screenshot of farm folks blocking them. Good luck with your game. One funny thing that has come out of all of this is some developers making their own little versions to kind of jab at farm folks for this. For example, Moonstone Island said, "All right, folks, it's time for some serious game development talk. We're tinkering with spirit physics in Moonstone Island. Burning question, which version has the perfect fishbowl jiggle physics?" And then they have the 50, the 90, and then the 30. And then they also made a follow-up post where they have the 150% and then also 500% and 1,000%. So that is what we know so far. I'm still seeing a little bit of discourse about it on the timeline this morning. I feel like it's going to die down, and I don't really know what effect it's going to have on the game long term. I mean, I know a lot of cozy game creators have mentioned that they're no longer interested in the game or they've taken it off their wish list. I personally have taken it off my wish list. And at this point in time, I'm not planning on purchasing or playing the game just because the whole thing just feels very icky to me. It's just red flag after red flag, honestly. So that is the story of how one Twitter post gone wrong can ruin an entire marketing campaign, or at least set it back a lot. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think of all of this in the comments. Don't forget that you can catch me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Laylindria, where we stream cozy games, farm sims, all kinds of things. And you can also join the Discord server. We have an entire channel just dedicated to cozy game news and tea. So I always post about stuff that I'm seeing over there. We have really great discussions. If you're interested in that, you want to keep up with stuff, that's definitely a great place to go. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.